Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Welcome back. You're watching the Kaiser Report. I'm John, and I'm here with Kaiser, fresh from the groomer. He's had a hard morning, and he's sleeping here on the couch. It takes a lot out of him. He goes early morning, and we pick him up, and we have lunch together, and that's our typical Wednesday. I hope you all are doing well, and I hope you all are probably glued to the networks to see what's going on with the interviews today on Fox with, I understand that Harris Faulkner had Trump on this morning. I had gotten to hear some of that on the radio while I was in the car with Kaiser this morning or on the way home, and it was interesting at best, and it was an all-woman audience that took place somewhere in Georgia, and early voting in Georgia, by the way, has set all records today for the opening day of early voting. Early voting is opening here in East Tennessee as well today, and I urge you all, if you're in the area of East Tennessee, to get out and cast your early votes, because no one knows in this climate what we have going on in and around us today, what will be come day of election. So if you're always, as I was, waiting for day of election to cast your vote, don't lay back too long. Get out and early vote where you can, just in case we get some more bad weather as we experienced in this past month, and also the things that could happen because we have drones now that are flying all over our strategic bases, not only Langley, but even on the West Coast and Texas and around the country. Someone is flying drones over these facilities, and why in the world the Pentagon hasn't given them the order to shoot these things out of the sky. I don't care if it's a private owner or not. That's illegal, and you're going to lose your piece of equipment. But, you know, this administration has a past history of allowing a Chinese spy balloon to fly over every one of our silos and facilities in the past and waited until it completed its mission before they deemed to shoot it down. I hope that that won't be the case with these drones that are now being flown over all of our facilities and no one paying attention to it from our diversity-hired Pentagon on up through the current administration's cabinet. Speaking of our current administration, Joe Biden has gotten out of his beach chair and gone to Philadelphia to say a few words on behalf in quite possibly helping Kamala Harris out of the election if he keeps this kind of nonsense up. But he showed up there incoherent as always. And, well, here, take a listen.
I endorse Kamala immediately.
What did he say?
I endorse Kamala immediately.
That's what I thought you said.
You're going to make business decisions about who's doing a better job in the economy, she said. Prescription drugs like the FAA does for veterans. He's been trying to succeed, and he failed every time. And by the way, to pay his taxes to the wealthy, we gave Medicare the power to negotiate. Damn! Trump wants a new sales tax on goods we import. If his sales tax were to, in fact, pass, the average family would have an increase in their cost of $400 a year. Or $4,000 a year, excuse me. Trump's whole come down to demonizing immigrants. He sat in the dining room off of my president's office, the Oval Office, As police are being attacked and killed. When we beat Trump in 2020, we saved American democracy. America still stands for the core proposition that stated in this nation, started this nation. And nothing is beyond our capacity when we work together. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops.
It's absolutely amazing, isn't it? The show that we get to see between Kamala Harris and her boss, Joe Biden, who has never gotten over the scars of being knifed in the back by not only Harris, but Pelosi and the Obamas and whoever else decided that he no longer was the candidate and installed the vice president because they had no other choice. And she's made a showing around the not only CNN and CBS, where they doctored all of the answers and questions and gave them to her. And when she failed to even make a good showing there, they edited out the answers for her. And now she's going to appear this afternoon, I believe it's at 6 o'clock hour Eastern time, with Bret Baier on Fox. And I'm very interested in tuning into that and paying attention to what goes on there, because I don't believe that Bret Baier will be popping her softballs and trying to get questions answered with word salad. I believe that he is enough of a journalist that he will stop that and say, no, the question was, and what is your answer to that? Which these other agencies and softball view visits and things of that nature haven't pressed, because the answers aren't there, the thought processes aren't there. And as she has admitted, there will be no difference between what's going on with this administration and her administration. It's clear, it's evident, it is being told to you by that person themselves. So it's interesting at best that Joe is out trying to torpedo some of the things that she's saying, or upset the apple cart there, but while running down the opposition, Donald Trump. And that's clear and evident in the clip that you just saw. It's ridiculous that he's even out there doing anything, much less getting ready to go to Germany and meet with NATO people, because the North Korean involvement now directly with Russia against the Ukraine is scaring the hell out of them. I'm telling you, if these people are left alone, and that includes Harris, we're going to be in World War III before you know it. And that's our sons and daughters that will be sent somewhere for no reason at all, like the last go-around in Afghanistan and Iraq and all of that nonsense that we were talked into by the military-industrial complex, and it will be this more of the same all over again.
I'll be damned. I'll be damned.
He can't even say the VA. He called it the FAA, as you saw in that clip. And it's just worse by the day. I don't know if it's dementia or just inadequacy in putting together. Well, he's not even doing that. He's reading this from a teleprompter and still cannot get it right. And we know that Harris off a teleprompter doesn't do well, and it will be interesting to see the Bret Baier deal with her tonight. I'm looking forward to watching that, as well as I'll pick up the rest of what happened with Harris Faulkner on the Faulkner Focus today with 54 that's sitting there. And we'll see where that went and how well it went. It was an all-woman audience that were asking the questions, so it should be quite interesting. I didn't get to hear much of it this morning, but I'll tune in, and we'll have a Kaiser Report Thursday, and we'll review both if you're interested. But watch it for yourself if you can. It'll be on there tonight, and I'm sure if you go on to YouTube here, you'll find clips of the Faulkner interview with Trump in that all-female audience, which I think will be really quite interesting, since they're saying on the opposite side that women won't vote for Trump. We'll see. We'll see what they say. But early voting is opened in Tennessee and Georgia set a record, and that's interesting. We need to pray for guidance on our voting decisions, because there's so much dependent on our choices here, on the survival of this country, the survival of God in this country, and the survival of our Constitution, which is very, very important. We need to take back our country, put God back in the country, and pray often and together for peace around the world, and especially here in our own country. And my fear is the division that is being driven into the society we live in is not good for any of us at this point. So we need to stop that division and go forward with God in our hearts and peace in our mind. Excuse me. Well, let's see what else is going on. Israel is protecting itself on 3 and 4 fronts, being hit hard from everyone over there. And we have a government that's asking them to just stop and let everybody regroup over there, which is not a good idea. They've got Hezbollah on the ropes. They're ready to do a retaliation to Iran, which well deserves a retaliation after what they've pulled. And we'll see where that goes. But we have an administration right now that wants to see a Palestinian state succeed over our strongest ally in the region. And it's not a good situation. As far as the protest here in the United States, on the Palestinian side, that's being driven and processed by some of this administration and the squad, which we need to put a stop to, because having our students out carrying another flag and carrying on about things that they do not understand, they have not been educated in, and think they know something that is a falsehood. And we have people that are paying a lot of money to these universities to have their children educated and can't get an education because you can't walk through the anti-Semitic crap that's going on the campuses of these very, very expensive left-wing organizations called universities anymore.
That's not right.
And then don't even get me started about the volleyball stuff going on in Nevada and with these biologic males competing and spiking balls at women that should not be allowed. But again, what are you going to do? You've got to have discipline put back in the schools, starting in the grammar schools, starting in the home, and get a handle on what your kids are out there doing while you pay $30,000 a semester thinking they're being educated. and they're carrying flags of countries that they have no business being involved with at all. Enough said on that. But anyway, it's interesting. I have this clip of Biden. It's unbelievable, the things that he says and comes up with, and the pure hatred toward Donald Trump by this administration, led and empowered by the Biden-Harris top dogs that push hatred into this country to a point where you have weak-minded individuals or implants that got through the southern border with the idea of murdering a candidate running for office. And then you have this Afghan that has been caught, probably quite accidentally, in a sting that wanted to do a major damage run on any group getting together, and a mass bombing driven by ISIS-K, which is the same people that did the Moscow deal and killed all those people. We're lucky they caught this one, but how many more are out there that we have either used by the CIA, which is the case with this guy, and then let into the country and supposedly, according to Alejandro Mayorkas, has been vetted and cleared, and now it comes out that that's not exactly true. What a surprise. How many more are out there planning massive destruction that we don't know about or haven't been caught in an FBI sting to try to buy weapons and explosives?
Shocking, shocking.
They're all over this country. You have a couple of 100,000 Chinese nationals in this country illegally that came through the southern border, all military-age men that when they lined them up stood in parade rest. They're military trained. They're all over this country. We don't know what they're doing. You had one that tried to get through the gates of a Marine base, for God's sake. This is bad intent. This is setting up cells to be activated at a later date. This is what we have allowed with this administration to happen to our country. These people are all over the place. And now we have all these Haitians being flown into small cities and disrupting not only the businesses there, but I understand that Tyson and their chicken plants need cheap labor, and this is why they're sending them into certain areas that are, in some cases, nice little small communities that should be left alone. But it's been allowed. It's been allowed for 4 years through an open border that should have been shut down a long time ago. But they needed to bring in the new voting base so there'll never be another Republican elected again. And this is what their drive is. This is what their base plan is. And it's as plain as the nose on your face right now. And don't ever doubt it. Just open your eyes and look, and you will see it. And they're aided and abetted by our government, and they're aided and abetted by our mainstream media, who has lied to us time and time again and is trying to help elect the Vice President of the United States that has never received a vote for that position to run as President of the United States. Didn't happen. They threw Biden under the bus and anointed this one with no vote and no vote of confidence from anyone but her regime. Remember that. So anyway, we're on a Wednesday hump day, and we're looking forward to a new weekend coming up. Weather-wise across the United States, we still have an awful lot of people missing in the Asheville, North Carolina area. I believe the number is 92 that are unaccounted for and presumed not still alive in some cases. But we have hope and we have prayer that some will be found in good condition. But they're missing. And there's still roads that are impassable. They have no running water in the Asheville area, and they're using potable water to flush toilets and then bottled water to keep hydrated. And the communities all around here in East Tennessee, Western North Carolina, and Southwest Virginia have really pitched in to get the supplies to the aid stations that are set up. And you cannot drive 10 miles without seeing a parking lot with a tent and it says, donate here. And they're being trucked into these areas that are in some cases still impassable, getting into certain parts of Western North Carolina. But the obvious thing and the obvious outpouring of love and caring in these communities is outstanding. And this is what America is. And this is what America was designed to do, neighbor helping neighbor, not a matter of a specialty or an ethnic version. It's all people helping people. There are no color lines when it comes to the devastation that we received from these two storms in Florida on up through the Carolinas, East Tennessee, and Southwest Virginia. And people are cognizant and helping one another, and it's so good and so heartwarming to see that happening. We need more of that throughout the world right now. The hatred and the vitriol that pours from a president of the United States against another candidate that may be running is just unforgivable in my mind. And then they wonder why people are trying to kill Trump, because they're being told every day that he is a threat to democracy. He's a threat to everything that you stand for. The threat is not getting him elected. The threat is Harris turning this into a socialistic organization and doing away with our Constitution so we can have a communist state here, when we all full well known that most of our lives has been fighting against communism and socialism and Marxism. And no matter how you paint it, she is so far left of Bernie Sanders, it's disgusting. And she is so incapable of even answering a question without stumbling out the truth in a couple of sentences. No, nothing will change between me and Joe Biden. You believe that? I think we're going to go so far left, we'll all be NASCAR drivers. But enough, and I hope you enjoyed today's broadcast. We'll be back tomorrow with our opinions on the town hall with Harris Faulkner, and then, of course, the Brett Baer interview with her tonight should be very, very interesting. This is the first time she's stepping out of her comfort zone and going to Fox, and then she's in negotiation with Joe Rogan now. How she will ever last for a 3-hour stint with Joe Rogan is beyond my wildest imagination. If it ever does happen, it will be interesting at best. If you get an opportunity to help or send some goods or make a donation to these hurricane victims, there are a lot of GoFundMes out there that you can look at. Stay with the reputable names that you recognize and help these people out. It's a good thing to see the amount of goods that are going into these pickup stations that I pass here and there, and it's marvelous to see what good people can do to help others. And if you're planning a weekend cookout, don't forget our sponsor here, Lazy J Farms and Butcher Shop. And they have the finest in cattle. It's a blonde Aquitaine cattle that is the tastiest beef I've ever had in my life. And I've had a lot of steaks in my life, but none that can compare to theirs. And they have pork products that they raise that are unbelievable. It's all farm raised here right in East Tennessee, and just great. Homemade hot dogs with none of the junk in it, no fillers, and cheese is great, and their chicken products are so tender and juicy. You've never had chicken this good. So if you're thinking about it, today's the day, Wednesday, that you can call and get anything, any specialty cuts that you would like to have shipped right to your door if you're not in this area. Just call down there to Lazy J Farms and Butcher Shop, and you can call them at 423-398-5595 and ask for Butch and tell him the cut you want, if you want 1 3/4 inches, 2 inches, whatever, and he will flash freeze it and send it to your door overnight, and you'll taste beef like you've never tasted before, or pork, or chicken, or even their hot dogs. They are great. The Chicago hot dogs that they have are some of the best. And again, that's 423-398-5595. And if you're in the area, they're located on Bloomingdale Road. And that's just off of Highway 93, and that's in Kingsport, Tennessee. So you can stop in there, and you'll see them cutting the sides of beef right there at the counter, just behind the counter. It's unbelievable, the taste that you'll get from Lazy J Farms and Butcher Shop. And we wish you all the best of a weekend up and coming, and don't forget to look at the clip of Joe here making a total fool of himself in Philadelphia on behalf of Kamala Harris. So with that, we're going to wish you a great rest of this Wednesday, and we'll be back here with you tomorrow morning for the Thursday Kaiser Report. And don't forget, stay strong, stay safe, and stay tuned to the Kaiser Report for your latest information. Bye-bye now.